Welcome to the weekend edition of the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and hello, Jennifer Duke.
Hello.
Jen, on weekdays it's all about the Fast 5, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. On the weekend, we still keep it to 5 minutes, but we're going to pick out the biggest story of the week, the most remarkable story, the sleeper story, one that's kind of flying under the radar a little bit, and then our favourite story. So let's jump into it. Do you mind if I go first for the biggest story?
Go for it.
So for me, it was the fact that it's reporting season. This week, things really got moving. Heaps of results to choose from, but two big ones I just want to mention quickly. The first to report this week was James Hardie. The building materials company showed us what's going to matter this reporting season, and that is pricing power. Investors loved their results. The company's share price jumped 16% after the announcement, so that was a cracker. The other big one I need to mention is Commonwealth Bank, record full-year profit of $10.2 billion. But talking about profit margins, we had Commonwealth Bank Chief Executive Matt Comyn warning that the home loan and deposit market will remain highly competitive. We've been talking for ages about the fact that the days of fierce competition in home loans are over. Apparently not. So a bit of a warning sign there from Australia's biggest bank, one of our biggest companies, and also acknowledging that the delayed effect of rising rates, other cost of living pressures are only just starting to hit people. So a bit of an insight into the economy, a bit of an insight into what investors are looking for. What was your biggest story, Jen?
My biggest story was Australia finding its feet on the world stage. We had Prime Minister Anthony Albanese being invited to an official state dinner with US President Joe Biden. And we have more developments on the China front, with Trade Minister Don Farrell saying he is extremely confident that now barley tariffs have been scrapped, wine tariffs are the next to go. Add to that Albanese is now expected to take another trip to Beijing later this year. And on Friday, India, Japan, the US and Australia held Navy exercises off the coast of Sydney. It's the first time Australia has hosted the Quad's Malabar War exercises.
Yeah, big one for Australia's place in the world, really. So moving on now to most remarkable story. What was it for you?
So the story that was most remarkable for me over the week was about US aviation leaders Boeing partnering up with the CSIRO. They're looking to take Australian agricultural waste feedstock and turn it into 5 billion litres of eco-friendly plane fuel. Right now, only 300 million litres a year of this type of fuel is produced. And it's the sort of improvement we're going to need to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. This announcement has also come out just before a meeting of the government's Jet Zero Council next week.
Oh, Jet Zero Council is the best named council around. My apart from the Jedi Council, of course, my most remarkable story is one of those ones that is just, it's extraordinary. It has the potential to become kind of legendary. Blackbird, which is a venture capital fund, took a punt way back in 2013 on a little Australian startup investing $3 million in Canva. That $3 million investment is now worth more than $1 billion. And that's only part of what Blackbird ended up investing. They've sold some of their stake this week, $150 million. They are still big investors in the graphic design software company because their sale only represented 3% of their stake. They've invested many times since then. But the sale to US investors did two things: revalued Canva at about $25.5 billion US dollars, which is down from previous valuations, but still, according to the founders, still solid. And it also helped a couple of super funds that had tipped money in as well, establish that their valuations of unlisted assets were fairly well accurate, which is something that super funds have been under pressure about lately. Jen, moving on to the sleeper story of the week, I think I found a cracker here because it's got Australian workers, it's got global implications. I'm talking about workers threatening to strike at 3 major LNG projects. The Northwest Shelf venture run by Woodside, and then the Gorgon and Wheatstone projects, which are run by Chevron. These are Australian sites, right? But the threat of industrial action saw gas spot prices in Europe spike by as much as 40%. None of these projects actually ship gas directly to Europe, but because they make up almost 11% of global supply, just the threat of that supply being disrupted is having an enormous impact on the other side of the world. I think it's a sleeper story. We're going to hear a lot more about it, and the world is really watching Australia. What was your sleeper story?
Yeah, my sleeper story was US government scientists have achieved net energy gain in a fusion reaction for the second time. And this is the sort of stuff that dreams are made of, because since the 50s, physicists have sought to tap into this type of fusion reaction that makes the sun so powerful and basically gives us more energy than it consumes to do the reaction. The experiment was repeated at the end of July, and even more energy was produced than in the initial attempt, which was in December. That's according to the Financial Times. So fusion reactions emit no carbon, produce no long-lived radioactive radioactive waste, and a small cup of hydrogen fuel could theoretically power a house for hundreds of years. Given its significance, potential to affect our future for the better, and the scale of the coverage, with that in mind, that was my sleeper story for the week.
Yeah, it's a good one. What was your favourite?
My favourite story was the possible future deal between Google and Universal Music to license singers' voices and to use them in artificial intelligence-generated songs. This monetizing of deep fake songs has so many implications. It's likely to give us loads of outrage from the glitterati. People like Drake and Ice Cube are already concerned, as well as the rest of the artistic community. I think there's some fair issues around the future of work in the creative community. The only issue is that the talks are at very early stages. There are no products likely to be unveiled anytime soon. And this story might be a bit of a slow burn, but it's a clear sign that AI is going to shake up industries and create commercial opportunities that we've probably never even dreamed about before.
Yeah, good point. My favourite story this week is it's a bit of a spectacular own goal, I would say, by a global tech company. I'm talking about Zoom, the video conferencing company that we are all familiar with. It's made it very easy for people all around the world to work remotely. So what do they do this week? They became the latest company requiring workers to come back into the office. Now, if you just think about that for a moment, this is a company that is entirely built on the idea that you can work from anywhere. And they are demanding employees who live within 50 miles of one of its locations to come into the office at least 2 days a week. I don't know. It feels like if any company was going to adopt a full remote approach, just to show what they could do, what their product is capable of, it would be Zoom. Let's see how this one plays out.
It's a great story.
It's a cracker, isn't it? All right, there we go. 5 minutes and pretty much everything you need to know in the world of business. Thank you very much, Jen.
Thanks, Michael.
We'll be back on Monday morning with the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Don't forget to hit follow and please join us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and X. I'm Michael Thompson and this is the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed.